and welcome to the Rogers Brief. I'm Adam Rogers. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Today I want to talk to you about an announcement that was made yesterday by the Mass Casualty Commission telling us that the start of the hearings were going to be delayed further by another month until February 22nd of this year. This is the second announced delay. The hearings, you'll remember, were supposed to start on October 26th of last year. They were delayed until January, and now they've been delayed a further month, we're hearing. So I had predicted this in my last few videos, but I was surprised in this way that the reason for the delay was not attributed to COVID, to the omicron variant, or any of these things that are legitimate in many cases reasons for delaying other events, and other court hearings. Trials have been delayed because of that, but the Mass Casualty Commission did not reference COVID in any way in talking about the delay decision. So I was looking at it. They did mention three other things. One was that they wanted to get more work on the foundational documents. I'll come back to that. They wanted to talk about more evidence that was coming forward and deal with that. And finally, they were still engaged in their restorative approach and dealing with potential witnesses and parties and talking to them. So they mentioned these three things, but it's still a problem in my view that this has been delayed another month. Of course, people will be familiar with the adage that justice delayed is justice denied. Another month may not seem like a long period of time, but it will mean fewer people being engaged, interest will drop off, and less justice for the victims. Every delay means that whatever changes are going to emerge from this inquiry process will be that much further into the future and not have effect until later dates. The comments that the Mass Casualty Commission release made with respect to the foundational documents, I thought demonstrated a problematic perfectionist tendency. What they said in the release was that they want to make sure that the foundational documents, and those documents are the agreed statement of facts that are being worked on among all the parties about what took place, reviewing police files and such. They wanted to get these documents as accurate as possible prior to the hearing start. Now, to me, this isn't necessary. They've had 5 weeks already of meetings to work on these documents. Now looking at another 4 weeks of closed-door meetings among the lawyers to work on these things. To me, there should be just basic information in these foundational documents, maps, call logs, facts that we can all agree upon, and then have witnesses testify. Having another 4 weeks, so 9 weeks in total to work on these documents, it concerns me that we're going to end up with more of a presentation rather than a proceeding when the hearings actually start in February. Rather than that, I think we should have witnesses testifying to what they saw and what they did, and we can work out any disparities as we go along. The second thing they noted in the release was that there was more evidence coming forward during this process. As they're putting together the foundational documents, some of the parties are bringing forward other evidence, more information. That's the case with every inquiry. We've seen that in the Desmond inquiry. I'm sure that was the case in others. You have to learn when you're working in these kind of situations, no different than a large trial, to roll with the punches, to think on your feet, incorporate new information as it comes along. That doesn't mean you wait until everything is ready before you even take the first step. The third thing they mention is this restorative approach, which is not a difficult thing to support or encourage, and a trauma-informed approach as well. So what they're talking about in the release is that they want to make sure that people are informed before any evidence that deals with them or their account or their involvement would become public. Well, this is again not to me a good reason for a delay. I mean, there's a very large staff at the Mass Casualty Commission. There's dozens of people working there. And as well, people must know by now whether they're going to be involved as a witness or as if they were involved and their name might be mentioned by a witness. That's something that all parties, all people should know by now. And the Mass Casualty Commission also has trauma supports available if people require them. So to me, and of course, the Mass Casualty Commission had months and months to prepare for this when it was supposed to start in October. And so this shouldn't be another reason for delay. So I think really we should be getting started and not have another month of delay. I don't think this is going to serve anybody's interests. And it reminded me, actually, it was kind of interesting. Just during the pandemic, where there's not as much sports on and people have more time, I've been watching some old movies, and one I just happened to watch last week was Rebecca by Alfred Hitchcock. It's a 1940 Oscar winner, and the main character's ex-wife had died under suspicious circumstances, and there was going to be an inquest. Well, the detective announced that there would be an inquest, and it was going to be held the next day, and it was held the next day, and they came to the conclusions, and it was a good movie. So anyway, encourage people to watch that. Certainly not expecting things to turn over in a matter of one day in this case, but here we are. It was April of 2020. We're going to be getting close to 2 years beyond the incident before we even get started. That wasn't the promise. We're supposed to have an interim report in May, a final report in November of this year. This 4-month delay is not helpful. Don't think it was necessary given what we know. I would imagine that the parties and the family members, the lawyers involved must be getting very frustrated with that. I'd be very interested to hear their thoughts on it. Actually, as well, when I was looking at the media releases and stories from different media outlets about this new delay, and nobody actually even asked any of the other parties for their views. So, but I can tell you from representing people in similar circumstances that they must be very frustrated at this delay. Particularly, there doesn't seem to be a real reason for it that would be justifiable under the circumstances. So anyway, we'll have to wait now until February 22nd before we get to see anybody on the stand or any public proceeding, and so we'll see you then. All right, well, those are my thoughts on the delay that was announced yesterday and the release that came from the Mass Casualty Commission. I'd be interested in your thoughts, comments, and if you like what you're hearing, of course, please like, subscribe, share it with a friend. All right, thank you again for watching, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.